Yeah, I watched you do it.
Well, there's the first edit right there. Yeah, bad start.
No, you can't.
Bad
you
start,
can't
Matt.
You can't just start shoehorn stuff in here just because of the name I'm gonna give the episode.
Oh, now you're giving away that we already decided the name. Cut that.
Yep,
All right.
Yep, editor, cut that.
If I joke about your edits, I will make you have to edit. So I'm not.
That's so
you will
true.
make me
That's
edit.
how
will.
all the ones happen.
That's
That is
true.
how it all
All
happens.
right, so
I was gonna say, I hate fucking systems that make me work, man. I love Chronicles of Darkness, but then you reach a point where it's like, fuck, I gotta make stat blocks for these things.
yeah.
D&D at least has a lot of like people who have already done that for you,
Yeah.
or it already
Yeah,
has
anything.
a lot of stat blocks already. But then there's also the fact that I have to read the stat blocks and figure out how they work, and then make them work in that way. And even the act of picking stat blocks can suck
D&D,
sometimes.
you can cheese it pretty
Yeah.
well.
You can.
I don't know
That's
how
what-
long
that-
it takes,
that's
but
what- that's what I
there's
do
a part
all
where
the
you just
time.
cheese it.
That's mostly because of bounded accuracy. Because no matter what you do, as long as you keep it
true.
between 1 and 20, you're fine.
That's
know.
true. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
always just like, is this guy? Someone's like, oh, I'm going to attack this, and you're like, well, I haven't sat in it, but this is what I'll decide. Okay.
Right, but the other thing, and this is something I feel a lot about, when I'm playing a system, especially a system like D&D or even like Chronicles of Darkness, which is heavily mechanized and relies a lot on builds, I don't want to improvise a ton of stuff, because then if I am not approaching their builds with the same level of content, it's either going to be too easy, or it's going to feel cheap, or it's going to be hard. Because it's like, if you're playing in this system, if you're not using the full system, then why do the players also have to use the full system? You know, it's like it's I don't know how else to explain it. I've talked about this before, I don't think on the podcast, but it's like D&D, yeah, you can cheese. But I need to know that something should probably have counterspell, or I need to know like how would a multi-attack best work, or what sort of save should there be, and familiarity with the system gets you that.
I want
but at the same
I want a
time-
system that lets me cheese all the time and not feel guilty for one fucking bit of it.
Burning wheel,
Burning wheel,
and
and 2d20.
and 2d20.
I can't feel guilty. You gave me the threat. It's mechanically there. It's all fair, baby.
It is. I have not felt once like and I think that's because a lot of it is front loaded on the character sheet.
Yeah.
I haven't once felt like I was like that you were flying by the seat of your pants, at least in terms of like stats. When you explained to me that one, who was it? It was the guy who I killed in the shuttle.
Yeah.
Who was invisible and shit.
Yeah.
I thought that guy was fully fucking statted to the nines. You're like, no. And I'm like, dude, no way. That felt like a real, comprehensive threat. But that's the nature of the system. You do that in D&D, you can probably get away with it. You try and do that in Chronicles of Darkness, it's not going to fucking happen.
No.
There's no way.
No, because people are going, I'm using this specific ability attacking this sort of weakness. What is it? It's dealing this level of damage. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to have all these boxes built out for the HP.
Yep. I gotta go look through all the merits. I gotta go look through all the that's probably why Changing the Lost has always fallen through for me, because at some point I'm like, okay, I get Changeling, I get the themes, I get what I want to do. I love Changing the Lost.
Yeah.
But then I gotta start looking through and seeing what contracts people have and seeing how all of those work and knowing how. I think what it comes down to is the characters in the game have the ability to know in-game which contracts they should have. Because the powers are are done like that. It's like, oh, I'm going to get with someone from this court who's this seeming, which means they probably have this, which means I need to have this. I'm not going to take this contract with this person because that doesn't make any sense to have. And it's like, it makes sense in-game to make those decisions. And that makes it really fucking hard, because it's like, well, now I as a GM have to think like that all the time about every single NPC. And to an extent, D&D is the same way. A wizard's going to prepare counterspell if they know they're facing up against wizards. You know what I mean? Or a ranger's going to do this thing if he knows he's facing against these types of monsters. And it's like, that is so much goddamn work. It is so much fucking work. I'd rather use that energy to do things like build plots or make up characters or make up elements of the lore, do stuff that I actually care about, that I use to make my games fun.
Yeah.
And it sucks that a lot of times it does seem to come down to the system. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
It's the hardest system you ever run.
Any of them I try. Because I never stuck with one. I barely know fifth enough.
I mean, same, man. Like, I've hopped all over the place. I have a really bad reputation following me.
You actually learn them, though. I am the opposite, where it's like, hey, Matt, learn Mutants and Masterminds, even though you're the worst person with learning rules. I'll try, guys. Hey, Ben, how does this work? All right, he's like, I'll just make it work. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. And he's like, beep, 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 beep. Ding, ding, ding. Here's a result.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What do I want to do this, Ben? Beep, 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 beep.
It's like the Fear Hawat in the Dune movie. He just rolls his eyes in the back of his head and just starts rattling off verbatim mechanics.
He's like, yeah. But I just don't want to lean on him.
Right.
But
and
that's
you're not
why
always...
fifth, you know enough where you can like, oh, but yeah, like you said upstairs, you're like, oh,
yeah.
The rules say I'm right, even though the rules say I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, was the story reason?
Ooh, yeah.
It's because you're right. You're not always going to have access to someone who knows the system well enough to literally be like a mentat.
Well, it makes it
really
more
be a rules
interesting
mentat.
if that person doesn't have to be doing that.
I'm sure it's more interesting. I think people like that do tend to like to do that, but I do think that if it's like that is their role at the table, that kind of sucks because then they have to worry about everybody else's shit, including your shit. And
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll probably be doing stuff wrong too.
Right. I do like games that have forgiveness in it. For as interconnected as Burning Wheel is, I'm going right back into what I love about Burning Wheel is. For how interconnected it is, if you fuck up, it's not that big of a deal. Like there's so much going on that if you forget a modifier, don't do a thing or don't do whatever, at the end of the day, it all kind of comes out in the wash. If it's really bad, you could be like, here's a point of persona, please forgive me, and then continue on. Like it's even though it has a lot of fidelity, the system has a lot of fidelity. It's like if you miss one or two things, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways to make up for it. D&D, you can give someone inspiration.
I mean, because 2D20 seems like, it's pretty easily fudgeable.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, what's your target? One or two? I think we're going like this. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to make it harder? Threat.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. That's why I think improv is not as cheesy. It depends on this. But I think, like, improv, even fifth, like, if you go up against a wizard and he has something interesting, I do think, yes, doing that every single time is not necessarily not respecting the players, but engaging them.
It wears down your trust.
Yeah, you're not engaging with their characters.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But like,
there's definitely good ways to do it and bad ways to do it.
Yes, but you are going to run out. One of the bad ways is to do it too many times, even in a good way.
Yeah. Or to do it without the proper context. A lot of times it's the context of how you frame where a character is standing, what it looks like around them, exactly what they're doing,
looks like.
how you describe it. Then they can be like, I'm trying this effect, and you go, it doesn't work. And because of how you've described it, because you've painted a good picture, you can have that player go, okay, there's a good reason why I should suspend my disbelief. Whereas if it's just like, I'm walking around in the middle of the field and now I'm going to try to teleport. You can't teleport. And it's story reasons, so I can't tell you why.
Well, I guess I wasn't saying...
That sucks!
I said, I guess...
And the player's like, why?
Right.
Why would
There's no good reason.
It's usually them going, why would this be the trigger for something so important?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But what I meant Cheese It was not necessarily... I was actually more leaning on to what Jimmy was saying, which is that like every character is completely statted. Because you could totally have weak dudes that people just hit.
Yeah.
And that's not... that's not obviously, I guess, Cheese It in this context. Cheese It, you mean like fudging.
Well,
or making things harder than they ever should be.
So, I think you're... I think you're totally right, like Casey. What it comes down to is it worth it? Am I willing to exchange my lack of being able to exercise my agency in this way for what I'm getting? And if you're not following the rule of cool, we just talked about that episode we recorded a couple months ago.
Yeah.
The last episode.
I don't remember
2
it.
months
I'm
ago.
surprised you remembered it.
Yeah, no, I know it's been literal weeks. But I think the other thing is, you hear a lot of people say, too, you don't need to stat everything out in D&D. You don't need to stat everything out in World of Darkness. It's like, I don't know. I've read the rule book. It says you fucking do.
Yeah.
Like, unless the book. Look, this is where I also harp on, like, this goes into the same eternal conversation, which is, please don't try to play everything in D&D. Unless the rules say, don't stat everything out, do this stuff instead, then yes, you have to stat everything out. Whether you choose to stat everything out or not is up to you, but you are doing something the system is not designed to handle.
I guess what you're saying is, like, 5th isn't such a light. You can be like 2 seconds and you have the stats.
Let me just say this. It's easier to improvise stats in D&D 5th edition than it is in Chronicles of Darkness. It's easier to improvise stats in Chronicles of Darkness than it is in Pathfinder.
Oh yeah.
So, like, but the thing is
you could look
Pathfinder expects Chronicles of Darkness and Pathfinder expect everything to be built using the same set of rules. Yeah. You can't get away with it. According to the system, if we're just looking at the system, you cannot get away with making things up. Even in 5th edition, you can't get away with making things up. But it does provide tables for stats based on CR and a table of, like, abilities that you can steal from other things. So it's a little
like
better.
You were saying,
but
you could just take 2 seconds, look up a regular ass dude and use it.
That's right, but that's still more effort than, like, I have to think about what would I want to use, what like stuff do I want it to have, do I have a monster in mind, I gotta go, maybe I need to tweak these things. And if you can only do that in a couple seconds, that's still more effort than the system saying, I don't give a shit.
I see what you're saying.
Just give it a number that makes sense and go.
Right.
But that's the thing about, like, a lot of these systems and people saying, oh no, you can get around it. No, you can't. If you are deciding to ignore that, you are breaking the rules of the game. And you have to recognize that. You can't just go willy-nilly. It's like, no, you are making a concerted effort. You are making a decision to not use the system as it was intended, which is what drives me crazy about people who will use D&D to do anything. Because it wasn't designed to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can do it, but you are really making some leaps of faith. The more third-party content you add, the more ad hoc stuff you do, the more things you change, the more and more the game's going to break down because it wasn't designed to do that. That's what 2D20 was.
The more 5th is going.
You know, 2D20 was designed to do anything with a little bit of reskinning. You know, Burning Wheel is designed to do things within a broad category of things, but still designed to do a ton of things.
That's because the characters are like ghosts of ideas in 2D20 games. Well, like 5th edition is like, here's a number. Here's a number very specifically. But 2D20 so far is like a ghost, a moving cloud of ideas.
Well, I'd say I like that. You're slightly true. It's still more mechanically grounded than other games. Like, I'd say that description better fits something like Fate, where literally you're just running off of several traits off of cards.
Aspects +2, -2. Do I have a token or not? End of game. That's the game.
Yeah.
It's you perfectly described what Fate is, where it's like things are like. It's like how LaCroix or sparkling water is like like I've heard strawberry with a low battery or traveling in a truck next to lemons.
You're playing a role-playing game that just happened to hit some rules on the way here.
Yeah, exactly. Your character is some vague recollections of some tropes, you know. Yeah. You know, like
to the 2D20 release for Star Trek, it has some good level of grounding because, I mean, you are picking a species, you're picking a specific department that you're supposed to be part of with some knacks and skills that make sense for it. But how you're able to express that character is a lot more freeing from the sheet.
Values, very ethereal things.
Yes, it's very role-play oriented, and however
dynamics.
You as a player are wanting to drive that character forward.
Right, you're right. There's still the stats of, like, are you actually good at administrative abilities or medicine? But the way you could do it is very ethereal.
Very much,
like, oh, I'm a counselor? Cool. Oh, I'm a very specific type of medicine. I could be completely different type of medicine. And the game is like, okay.
Yeah, it's following the same rules.
The game doesn't care.
You know what I think the difference is? I know I've talked about this before, but I'm going to harp on it again, which is D&D doesn't come with an instruction book, which is funny because it's the core books all three of which you need in total, are literally 600. I'm going to look at my fucking phone.
Spring water. That's what I saw.
Sparkling water is what the episode's currently named. I'm trying to maybe. You know what? We'll just see. We'll just see what the
You wrote
episode's
notes
named
out.
at the end.
I don't know what anything else said.
That was notes from the episode we did. What I say 3 months ago? Yeah.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't look at your phone.
This whole
I
time.
wouldn't look at your phone if you had text. It's just you just wrote.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you still have
like
those?
how
Do you still have those 3-month-old questions?
3-month-old questions.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said 3 months ago you had questions.
Yeah, that we're working through a list, like backwards through it or something.
Oh no, we finished that.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
we finished that those 3 months ago.
Were you
Pretty good.
saying something?
We finished that 5 months ago.
That was all right. It was a shorter list than I thought.
Yeah, we hit everything.
It's not
It was
really a
nice.
list. You don't really need to call it a
Hang
list.
on, I'm gonna
I don't
fucking
think.
forget. I'm gonna fucking forget.
Yeah, what were you saying?
You're writing Curb, and
Yeah.
you're going to be writing a lot of commentary about how the system's meant to be used.
Yeah.
Star Trek does the same thing. A lot of 2D20 systems do the same thing. Burning Wheel has an entire other book that is nothing but how to play this game.
Yeah,
and he also
should have
released-
come out with the first book.
It
That would have really helped.
Yes, it fucking should have.
But yeah,
I mean,
it
even the
does.
core rule book does have a lot of instructions.
Mhm.
It's funny that a system that has 600 pages of instructions doesn't tell you how to play the game.
Yeah.
It gives you the procedures and mechanics with which to facilitate play, but it doesn't tell you how to play.
You go to the
game.
GM game mastery section, how it should tell you how to play, and it's like, you could put a forest.
You could put a forest.
And in a forest, you could have like a bandit.
Yeah.
Villains act like this. There could be one.
Yeah, because he's trying to explain how fantasy stories are made, I guess.
Oh no, traps! They're also here.
There could a villain. There could be one. That's literally what
Yeah,
it's
might not
like.
be a
Yeah.
villain,
Yeah. And it's like, oh, I forgot what the whole point.
It'll
of this
walk
was,
you
but-
through how to, like a writer professionally working for Dungeon Magazine, build a module, and it will tell you nothing about how you run that to be fun for your players.
Here's something interesting. This just reminded me. A video came out earlier. A video came out 3 months ago. Well, this really doesn't work because of the timeline of it.
Yeah,
But,
you've
so
exposed us.
Questing Beast came out with a video today. If you guys don't watch Questing Beast, you really should. Like, he has mostly OSR stuff, but a lot of stellar GMing advice. And he was talking about how he's been reading a lot and really picking apart a lot of the old school D&D stuff. And Gary Gygax in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons tells you how to play the game. It's not very well organized because the way he writes is like a bunch of, tangents and meandering and stuff like that, but it's all there. Something a lot of people miss from the original D&D and Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, but when you put together a bunch of things that make sense, like for example, in OD&D, it says it can support up to 50 players. And you're like, well, how does that work? The entire intent of D&D up till 2nd edition was to run open tables. It's basically like an MMO that's just not online. Like, you literally are running the game with whoever is around in a persistent version of the world, because he says something definitively in the in the AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide that time should progress. When you are not at the table, time progresses in real time. Has it been 2 weeks since you've last played? 2 weeks pass in the game. And people miss that, but it's there. That's what he says, is that's how it should fucking work. And that completely, the fact that he thinks that, recontextualizes things like supporting up to 50 players and completely flips everything on its head. Because it's like, because he'll say like, oh yeah, you should have like 3 characters. And it's like, well, why? Well, if you have a character who's laid up and you're literally waiting for them to heal 1 HP per day in real time, you're playing a different character. Why are time records so important? Why is it so important to keep stringent time records? Well, because you could have different parties in different places doing different things in the same world.
Yeah.
And you need to know what they're doing when they did it, because maybe the players go in the same dungeon and the treasure's gone because it hasn't restocked yet.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how from 2nd edition onward, which hasn't really had similar instructions, and albeit it hasn't really had those instructions because they weren't very direct or very well organized. We have been playing a version of D&D that is kind of what people interpreted it to be, not what it actually is,
I
or how it was
it's
actually
probably a
played.
bit more realistic.
Hmm?
I mean, 50 people in the 70s that want to play D&D.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
good
the
luck.
whole
Good
thing.
luck, mate.
Yeah.
It worked for Gygax because he's a big name.
No.
But for everyone else?
Yes. Have you ever heard of something called Living Greyhawk?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking they ran one of the whole reasons that like he made Mega Dungeons became a thing, like Temple of Elemental Evil, Tomb of Horrors and stuff, was because Gygax was running tournaments. He was writing modules for tournament play.
Yeah.
Like in the 80s, or like the late 70s, early 80s, shit was huge.
But what I'm saying is
Like-
that is still not accessible to the vast majority of a market for trying to play a role-playing game. Most people can't get if that's the true way to play Dungeons and Dragons, a very small amount of people will get a chance to play that, except through heavily well-organized play like we see now today,
well,
which is almost too structured.
it's a shadow of what Living Greyhawk is.
Because it has literally it has these mechanisms for like your character having an imprint from doing the
Picked up this
adventure.
hammer, I'm gonna fucking beat this shit out of Casey.
But everyone,
I disagree with you. Bam, bam! I'm gonna jump across this table with this fucking hammer. Sorry. No, I disagree. So I think this goes back to the rules about how you were about being clear in a game how you're supposed to play it.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing about an open table is it's more accessible because you don't need consistent players. We were talking about earlier about how a big joy of GMing is to introduce people to the game.
Yeah.
You literally go into the game store, and albeit this was easier back for Gygax's day because the game was rooted in wargaming.
Yeah.
But like you show up at a game store, you go on a table, you start running stuff, you maybe put up an ad, say I'm running stuff here. People are walking up, they're seeing what you're doing, and the game is made for people to come in and play, not knowing what the setting is, not being part of a regular group, nothing. You don't even need to schedule. You could have a bulletin board filled with ads for GMs that are running open tables. Show up to a game store on a D&D day and pop into like any of these groups. And that could have been the D&D that we have now, but it's not because Gygax wasn't clear enough. You see what I'm saying? Like if Wizards said, "Hey, for 5th edition, we want to go back to that."
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume that was their intent. For some pulling stuff from old editions, like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make it exactly like Living Greyhawk back in the 70s. They did a piss poor job because they didn't tell us that's what they wanted us to do.
Well, there's
you know,
yeah.
But Adventures League's dog shit.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah. But that's supposed to be your hot end characters type.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is that you need to tell people how to play your game.
Mm-hmm.
You really do, or the game is not going to be played correctly. And if somebody wants to play their game differently, then they can just do it. But I've been in a number of tables where it's very clear they didn't even know how to play the game.
Yeah,
and it's tough, you know. I feel like
you
I'm
walked out.
retreading ground. I walked out of that game.
Walked out?
3 months ago.
Yeah.
4 months ago. What are we at now?
2 days, 4 hours, 63 minutes.
Of 2 months
So
ago.
3 hours and 3 minutes.
Of 2 months ago.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I'm retreading ground. I've ranted about this before.
I have had something that I want to bring up.
Yeah, bring it up, man.
Okay, so
I'm sorry,
You were
I'm just
mean to me
fucking
last
going
week, and I was just thinking of this recently. Is you've talked about it a couple times, but I guess I really want you to go over what this magical concept of DM-less games is. Because I guess I
GM-less
still
games?
don't GM-less games, not games. I still don't get the concept, I guess, as much.
So the idea of GM-less games, we've played a couple.
Or like, what's the merit of a game where there is not a storyteller, one storyteller?
Well, let's start with games like Fiasco and Kingdom. So you've played Kingdom.
I played Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah. And that game's awesome. And that was made to be a GM-less game.
Yeah.
And if you notice, like, the game has procedures to help facilitate basically everybody being a writer. Like, if everyone is able to interact with the fiction however they want within the guidelines that are provided. The same thing applies to pretty much any RPG. There's a lot of people who play solo RPGs, and that's close. Or people who use GM emulators. There's this thing called Mythic, where it's literally a big old book, and you roll on dice and shit like that, and it's literally for groups of players who want to play without a GM. But they still want something standing in for the GM. I don't really do it, but there are plenty of people who, not only are their games designed to not have GMs, but there are people who play games by themselves and people who play group games without GMs. So the logic follows that if you have a game with really rigid processes and procedures, then if you had a group of people at the table who you trust, who are invested in the game and who want the best for everybody at the table, you could just run that game without the GM. In a lot of these games, the role of the GM is fairly like nominal. And the reason why I use the example of Burning Wheel is because, especially in my extensive experience, might I add, playing the game, you can play Burning Wheel as either a very hands-on GM or so hands-off the game is basically doing the driving for you, which follows that it's like if everybody at the table agreed, we're going to tell a good story together, we're going to tell it with everyone's best interests in mind, and we're going to use the procedures in this book to tell it, but we're not going to have a GM telling us what to do, that's something you can do. And there are two big benefits to it. The first is nobody has to be the GM, because it's hard. GMing's very hard. Entertaining regularly, simulating a fantasy world, being like you said 3 months ago. People just feed shit into you and you
remember,
reinterpret
it's 3 months
Yeah,
ago.
it was a long time ago. Well, you said that you tell someone something you want to do and they feed in and interpret that. That's exhausting, especially when you got to run all these NPCs and also got to be entertaining. Sometimes you have people who just don't want to be GMs. But on the other hand, you also want to... It's not that you don't want to be a GM, but it's that you all want to have equal stakes in the fiction. That you want to play a game that all of you really care about and are building together instead of... people say role-playing is a collaborative medium, and it is, but there is a definite power dynamic between the GM and the players. We all really know who the main storyteller, who the guy with all the chips is.
Yeah.
So by leveling the playing field, we are now all able to have equal investment in the story. And the thing is of course, I think that is a really cool thing to be able to have an experience, but it does require you to play with people who you know can handle it, who know the rules, who are willing to share the spotlight. And that's not everyone all the time either. But I think what I was talking about 3 months ago is that I'm gonna keep doing that. Is that I trust my group with something like that, and we were talking about it, and we were all jazzed about it because it was like, yeah, using the procedures in this book to write a world together is pretty fucking tight. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we actually go through with it because we've got a lot of projects. We started playing Kill Team, Warhammer 40K Kill Team and stuff together and stuff. But that is the big appeal, is there's no GM. There's all the benefits of not having a GM. You just have to have a strong enough group that you can compensate for the downsides of not having a GM. And you have to use a system that is either designed for that or is robust enough that it can handle not having someone directly like steering the wheel.
Yeah.
So is it something where it's like because in my mind it's naturally slower, but it's more worth it because it's more collaborative?
I would say it's faster. So it would be like a writer's room. There would be a lot more. It would be a lot of us talking at the table like, all right, what do we want to do? Oh, yeah, that makes sense for your character stuff. Okay, what kind of test should that be? Okay, cool. How about you do this? And it would be a lot. The play itself, I think, would be a lot faster because you're not waiting for the GM to process or describe or to determine or to adjudicate.
Right.
You're all at the table treating it like a big writing room. But again, you're not going to have people get fired from writing rooms for being shitty writers all the time.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that everyone in your group would be good in that sort of environment. You know what I mean? Would either be able to play along or would be able to contribute directly.
Yeah.
So I think it would be, again, all of these upsides that I see and have experienced are contingent on having a group of people who are exactly right for it.
So I guess it's like
very
the
rare
whole
to-
thing, which
yeah.
is if the DM usually is lifting the weight, and instead of everyone's lifting the weight, it can easily fall.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
If you are distributing the role of the GM among the players, which again many people have tried to do in various different ways, whether it's within their like house rules or within like a separate product, if your group isn't able to carry the weight, then you just shouldn't do it. My group, my Monday group, we've literally been playing every Monday for 13 years. Fuck. No, not 13. 10. We're about at 10. I think various different people. We've been doing this, and us at the table, we've been doing that too. But even and so I think we can handle it, especially because we all really like Burning Wheel. But at the same time, because this would be my first time trying this, it's like trying this specifically with this game, we don't really know until
Yeah, just gotta do
we
it.
hit the ground running.
I guess because
That's
I
right.
could see Burning Wheel because the way we did the last time we played, which is when I want to do something. If this roll fails or if it succeeds, you have clear indicators of where it's going.
Yeah.
Whether or not there's a DM there or not. It's
Right.
collectively there's a clear indicator of where it's going.
Right.
Well, that could not work with fifth because
No.
that's
no.
literally cannot work.
Correct. I do not. If you were doing it, I think it can work with OD&D. If you were just doing a straight up by the book dungeon crawl in OD&D, or even randomly generating the dungeon as you go, you can totally do it. No problem. Anything newer,
Right. I
than
guess that'd be
literally
like,
like
how's the
BX
next
is
room? So you roll and you're like, that's how the next room is.
pretty much.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that I actually have been wanting to do that for a while. I think that could be a lot of fun, like running a completely by the book dungeon crawl.
Yeah,
just
like you
with,
could have a tower that makes noises,
Yeah.
and everybody's sitting around the tower, and you just roll and something happens.
Do we want to?
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about Dark Tower? Is that
Whoa,
what's happening? Are you
I don't know
transitioning
what you're
us?
talking about.
I do want to say really quick.
I know what Casey wants to talk about.
I can't wait to get fucking crucified by Burning Wheel fans for even implying that you can play the game GMless, let alone straight out saying it. On the record, I want to say there is nothing worse. As a Burning Wheel player, there's nobody I hate more than people who like Burning Wheel. So bring it on,
Burning
you
Wheel
fucking
makes sense,
losers.
though.
Bring it on.
Because it's still an ethereal realm, while like fifth is very rooted.
Yeah.
But you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
talk about Curb?
Yeah, because fucking
I'm trying to
Burning-
build. I'm trying to build it hybrid GMless. That's basically
Well,
what I would go for.
That's kind of what I'm talking about, is that there's still a GM nominally, but there's so much power the player has, it makes you question why we have a GM at all.
Yeah.
And I think 2D20, it still works to an extent. Burning Wheel, I can absolutely see not needing one.
I could see that, and even
yeah.
Curb, I could see that because it's just like here's the scenario. It's almost Kingdom.
Yeah.
It almost seems like a Kingdom game because it's like here's the scenario. Everyone has their own reasons to be prideful of this and care way too much about this. And then now, like you're saying, if you're doing a check, where are we going? We all establish this is what it sounds like. We want to go this way if you succeed, and go this way when you fail.
Right.
I could see it totally being GMless.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for validating that for me. I appreciate that because I feel like I've been fucking crazy.
Okay, damn.
Yep.
Sorry.
Fuck. Okay.
Casey told me
You
like
fell for his trap.
I
make
did.
Jimmy feel really bad before he gets here. When he gets here, just like make him. Feel
I'm
like,
used to you guys gaslighting me on this fucking.
Really?
That's
What's a
fucking-
gaslight?
I've never.
You made that up. You're crazy.
Yeah. What? Gaslight's not a word.
I'm gaslighting you. What are you talking about?
There
You
was
made
a-
that up. You're
yeah,
crazy.
There was a video.
Yeah.
There was it was a screenshot. I forgot it was like I'm so tired of people gaslighting me. It was like, oh, it was such a perfect response. He said, you're not being gaslit. Or something. He was like, that's not gaslighting. Oh, I think it was like that's not the definition of gaslighting. And it's like,
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I could see, because it's socially ethereal, you could do it GMless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all will get like, hey, you were talking?
No, go ahead.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm go. Don't forget.
But
what
like,
you say.
it's a social. So collectively, we're gonna be like, oh, this is how
Yeah.
this character is gonna respond to it.
Well, how I'd like
Right.
it to run
Right.
is basically very on-off switch, like having a session that maybe have a big idea It's run by a GM. Everyone's involved with the next session. Way lighter. There's a lot more just opening scene exchange, deciding where we're wanting to try to find the comedy, and having it switch off in between. Having it being basically built in as a slider. Whereas beginning of a session, it might be quite GM oriented. By the middle of it, we're making up stuff on the fly.
I can see it being totally GM-less because it's so social.
Yeah.
And if you're shooting someone, it's so shooting or combat is going to be still way more just offhand because it's still a reflection of the social situation you're in.
Yeah.
Not I'm doing a spell, it does damage, here's the answer.
Yeah.
It's going to be I'm shooting him, but I care about the social impact of it, not the damage.
Yeah.
I think kind of what I think something you're getting at is when, and I mentioned this earlier, how D&D expects you to fully stat characters. Chronicles of Darkness fully expects you to stat characters. When you are, it's because RPGs come from war games.
Yeah. Initially,
when you are running D&D, you need to make sure that these guys are using tactics that make sense. That like I have secret information in my head that I know. There is this adversarial relationship between players and the GM. In Burning Wheel, for example, it's like you're only rolling dice when it tells you should, and when you feel you should, and the numbers are completely in service of the story. It's like not adversarial at all. I mean, you're challenging people's beliefs, but a lot of times players can find own. If you said, "All right, what's a scene you like to do to for one of your beliefs?" and they're like, "I want to go do this." Like, okay, I guess we're gonna go do this. Why would I need a GM to do that? But you're right, in something that has a number, assigned to it, or tactics assigned to it, or like, that's more, I guess, traditionally video gamey, then you're kind of
because I'm cutting into something, and I can only cut into something so many times. But I can insult someone forever, and then they'll finally do something.
The social situation is something everyone at the table will be familiar with because we're social creatures.
Yes.
And the other nice thing is you can literally tell people to go watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Seinfeld, and fucking
Always Sunny,
and then they'll be like, "Oh, I get it,"
But also, as I'm building this, I'm seeing it could be used for so many different things.
Yeah,
you want to run a Sopranos-esque game that's all kind of the wacky sitcom trying to make do the regular parts of the days when you're not dropping people down in the river and whatnot. Yeah. This is the game for it. You want to play a game focused around superheroes, but we're not giving a shit about how they're saving towns. We're caring about how the fact that they're so estranged from society makes them alienated and horrible to interact with on a daily basis. Perfect game.
I don't think you should bring that up in the book, in the product, though. Yeah. I think you should, if you refer to anything, it should be specifically to the big three cringe comedies that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe The Office, even if you're feeling generous.
Yeah.
But
that's largely with me statting out sample settings. So it'll be like you could run a bar. You could be a celebrity with a group of other celebrities. You could be running an office. An idea that I thought would be really awesome is like you could have it where it's an estranged like news crew that they're literally running a local news channel, but mostly it's fucking night crawling and going around doing weird shit.
So the reason why I think that's awesome, but the reason why I think you shouldn't do it is because three things you've described so far: the news team, the superheroes, and one other thing. Fiasco already does all those.
Yeah.
Fiasco has that locked down. It's like some Coen brothers ass, terrible people who deserve each other, getting in all sorts of shit. They have a play set for superheroes. They have a play set for Soprano. They have a play set for gangsters. They have a play set for all this. I think you would be doing yourself and the product a service by really focusing in on the three big inspirations. Mm-hmm. When you give the example settings, just make them complete like serial numbers filed off rip-offs of like, you're all bar owners and you own a bar called oh no.
That's not a good name for
that's
a bar.
That's a bit long.
Yeah, that's a
bit long.
name for a bar.
No.
You said the title of the episode. Oh
no.
No.
But you see what I'm saying? I think if you're gonna go further with it, get the core of what you're inspired by first, all the way down and released.
Yeah.
And then if you're like, you know what, fuck Fiasco, I do it better, then release an expansion.
Yeah.
And charge people money for it and get more money. Yeah. What?
Just think about filing all that word down.
What?
I'm sorry?
You know, you said file it off. So, like, the big title, it's a big paragraph, and I'm, like, trying to file it for, like, a whole day.
It's like a nail file?
Yeah, nail file it.
You're filing words down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What words?
Physically.
Like,
just physically.
I don't know.
Like, just, like, because it's like, oh no.
Oh, you're saying that was the full title?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a filing. I'm like, God damn, it's just so hard. There's so much to file down. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my
You
thought.
certainly filed all the words off of. I get what he's saying now.
I see what
I
he's saying
see.
now.
Oh, it took a little bit.
I was thinking, like, literally by face value.
Oh yeah. While running the game, I totally planned to be running one of those 10-hour occasional laugh track every few minutes.
That's true. That's a
videos.
requirement.
Oh, that's fucking
Requirement.
funny.
Yeah.
It would be really funny about the occasional laugh track is somebody does something that we're just doing in passing isn't necessarily funny, and that gets the audience to laugh. So it's like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Exactly.
He's like, I'm gonna go to the store. Ha, ha, ha. And they're like,
what's so funny about the store? And it turns out the store, it turns out in a scene that the audience saw, but we aren't privy to, is the store got turned into a party city.
Yeah.
We only have time to go to one store, so you went to the party city and you have to get groceries.
Yeah.
So that's when Kramer comes back in and he's bought an entire bag of lollipops, and that's his nutrition for the week.
Yep.
Yep.
Episode slam dunk.
It really all just writes itself. That's the thing. It's just like systems that write the games that write themselves, man. Fucking love that shit. So good.
Well,
I already said that 3 months
It's
ago.
not writing itself. I'm having to write it.
He's writing it. Yeah.
I've watched it. Believe me, I've watched it. I hope
so you
I
think,
hope some
like,
words would
just-
pop up on there on their own.
Games
Just
that write
like
themselves.
I like how he
Wow.
loves the idea of just pushing an idea to someone else and being like, okay, you do it.
Yeah.
I love how it writes itself.
Hey, I'm what's called.
First off, he doesn't like using all the words. He just files all them off, and then he goes,
Hey.
the game should write the rest itself.
I'm what's called an idea man. I expect my 30% royalties check in the mail.
Yeah.
This is you're gonna hear this. Oh my god, I feel like I'm already making jokes I already made. But I was gonna say you're gonna.
But that was
This is
3
gonna be
months
at the,
ago.
It was 3 months ago, so it's really easy to. Well, and especially the episodes before that, which were 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not all filmed and uploaded within the same couple weeks.
What were you saying?
I don't know.
You get
I don't
tired?
remember.
You getting tired?
No.
Getting tuckered?
Well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I also
Wow.
I'm dreading that I have to go home and pack a bunch of shit because I'm gonna be out of town for like 2 weeks.
Do you want to
So
change
it's
our
like-
times at 4? I mean, we do these things at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do these
Do you think-
things.
It might be a bit easier. I mean, I've been meaning to talk to you about that for a while.
I don't
mean,
see no. We
these-
agreed when we started recording that we'd film for the first week of every month at 4 a.m. every day.
they're starting to ask why I look so like ghoulish at work. And
Ghoulish.
yeah. That's the word he
They're
used.
they're asking why I look like a fucking ghoul coming into work.
Yeah, that's a very archaic way to say it. It's like an old person.
Well, yeah, because I thought he was just like gaunt or tired, but he's like ghoulish. So that's a
Hey,
strong
it's one of those
fucking
kids
word.
over there. He's a ghoul.
Hey, you're one of them
Oh my
ghoul
God.
kids.
It's like that. That is a ghoul right there. It's a
Yeah.
goober.
Dude, if they saw how I fucking rolled into work every day, we're working from home.
You mean like literally just go upstairs?
No, I walk
Oh.
5 steps. Not even. I put my feet. I can get to work in 1 step. I'm in bed. I put my feet on the floor, and then not moving my feet, I move the chair behind me, sit down on it, and roll up to my desk, and I'm at work.
That was like 5 steps. That was not one
No,
step.
feet steps.
Oh.
Feet steps, like with your
Wow.
feet. It's something. It's
So
something
hand
that's-
steps don't count now, huh?
It's something I got to stop doing. It's something I really need to like. But I don't have anywhere in my house I can really work somewhere else comfortably. So
No.
What? I roll up in my pajamas. I'm working. unshowered, just fucking, and then it's like, cause I don't, I don't have a webcam or
Written
nothing.
as
It's like-
raw.
Yeah.
You're raw.
I roll in raw.
I don't
Yeah.
need to why I talk about. I am the exact opposite situation.
Yeah, I know.
don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, I
'Cause
know.
Then it sounds like I'm trying to sound like I'm better than you.
Well,
and
you are.
don't.
better
I
than
am.
me.
So
yeah,
I don't
fucking-
need to.
Yeah, so why waste time? Why
Why waste time?
spotlight that when we already know the answer?
Exactly.
Just
why
say
waste
you're
time?
better than me. Shit.
Yeah.
I think you're just jealous, to be honest.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're just jealous.
Yeah, I can
Are you
keep
jealous?
going. I'm not gonna talk.
Yeah, no, don't
I'll
talk.
get into it. This is a whole thing about like, woe is me. I'm not doing that.
No, woe is you, dude. You're
I'm
not
not
fucking
doing
like
that.
you
I'm not
actually
doing woe is
you
me.
actually
Like
work for a living.
Yeah,
I hate.
you-
I don't like woe is me's.
Well,
I'm not doing
when
that.
I see you, I go, you?
Whoa, 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 buddy.
Oh,
Yoinks.
whoa,
It's
yeah.
hot in here. Whoa.
Woo! Yeah.
Whoa.
No, dude, you fucking you work for a living, dude. Like you have
Yeah,
plenty of reason.
When is Curb gonna be done?
Wow.
That's like asking when Track Marks is going to be done, and it's been
You
12 years so far.
I mean-
you said next week.
it's going to be done this year. We're recording these episodes in
What year is it?
November
I'd
2022.
imagine I'd have this done in probably like a week.
Because you'll lose it.
Fuck you. Fuck
I'm
you. Bullshit.
I'm not building a system, Jimmy. I'm
I'm not building
one.
a system either. I'm building an intricately crafted setting that keeps
Yeah, but he doesn't-
changing.
Yeah, I don't have to
He
do any
likes the
setting.
system. He's not caring that much about it. He's not 10 years caring.
He
about
shouldn't
the system.
fucking.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
I've
hey.
got to basically build an in-depth character creation, tackle how combat works in the way that I want it to work, and that should be
You
it.
say that like that's so fucking easy.
Maybe come up with the scheme system for the greater, like, secondary. Okay, now we're doing big
I'm
extended
gonna
That
checks.
does sound
I'm
easy.
not-
That
now
sounds very
I'm gonna-
easy.
I got the
actually.
hammer.
Yeah,
That sounds super easy. All that says sounds like it takes you. An
yeah.
hour at
I mean,
most.
yeah.
Yeah, tops 30 minutes.
Tops
Well spread.
30
If I
minutes.
go take a shower, man, I could do it in 40 minutes probably.
Dude, you could all do it in the bathtub. 'Cause that's
Yeah,
how you,
We're
could,
gonna
yeah.
all work in the let's all work on our shit in the bathtub.
if I could work efficiently, the most efficient place I could work would be
it
in
is the
bathtub.
bathtub.
yeah.
For him, it is the bathtub.
Why?
Something about water, man.
I don't know. It sounds
Dude,
like it is water with him.
If I'm not sure what to do and then I take a shower, I get all this fucking inspiration
Yeah.
while I'm in the shower. It's
Yeah,
so tight.
So every time I do, go to intern music,
Oh, really? Shower's just completely transactional for me. Not enjoyment.
transaction.
No enjoyment.
No
Well, because you
enjoyment.
focus it all on the toilet. You got that
yeah.
I said shower.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah,
the shower
well,
is transactional, but your enjoyment's
See, yeah,
derived
the
from
thing
Oh,
is,
yeah.
everyone
I see
wakes
what
up
you're
for,
saying.
and they
Yeah,
have
I see what you're
they have the shit and shower, the shit and shower.
The
That's
shit
the
and
thing.
shower.
You,
Yep.
most people invest in the shower. They don't think much on the shit.
That's a good point. You're a
But
game
you,
changer. Paradigm shift.
You're a
invests in
different.
the
You're a
shower?
different soul. You invest in
My
the
sister.
shit.
You don't invest in the shower.
My sister has this cool ass fucking long ass nozzle thing on the cable that
Yeah.
you can
That's as
hose out
far
your
as you can go,
asshole
though.
and-
That's as
and-
far as you can go.
No,
You get a lot of
You can get.
you get a lot of like
Yeah.
shampoo, fancy shampoos. You don't. You maybe your shower head's like one time.
Get a,
That's all you can
get
do.
a
Have
shower
you-
speaker.
that's all you
get
can
a-
do.
Yep,
get
yeah.
a-
Have
I've
you
done
never-
that, but I can't because there's so many people in the house. I can't blast
Yeah,
whatever I
that's
want in
true.
the morning. I could sing.
Yeah, you wake up too early.
Have you never seen the Seinfeld episode about the shower nozzle?
Yes, I
so it
I
has
have
a lot of
barely
this
seen
message.
Seinfeld, but yes, I've seen that one. And yeah,
That's so good.
My economics teacher showed me that one. Because
Economics.
Yeah.
yes, I've told Casey, but there's a website that teaches economics through Seinfeld.
That's pretty cool. I think I've seen one of their videos because they literally go through each type of like
It's pretty old.
bartering with
Yep.
Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's
one-
pretty old because
yeah.
it was my community college. It was like 5, 6, 8 years ago. Jesus, now
Fuck.
for me.
No, I keep thinking about how I graduated college 10 years ago. No, fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, you haven't.
I keep.
It was
just,
20.
The time gap keeps
It
getting
was 20
bigger.
years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus, 10, 20.
No, it was in 2016, which means it would have been
Yeah.
6 years ago. That's not that bad, but still kind of far.
Yeah.
But still kind of a lot of years.
Yeah.
I know it's 2018.
That's a console generation.
Yeah, that's one console.
That's one way to
generation.
describe
Yeah,
it. That's like scaling with bananas.
I'm
Yeah.
a PC gamer. Fucking fuck you.
What year was it? Xbox 360. Like what?
The year of our Lord, Xbox
Yeah, that's like
360.
saying what year was it? Reagan. Yeah, I mean, that's like a similar vibe.
What year?
It's just so
Love
less.
the-
What
love
year
this-
was it? GameCube.
Love this one meme, which was PC's better than console, and then the next immediate response is is your PC better than console? And
Yes,
they go,
I do.
"No."
Yes. I do love that. Nowadays, it's cheaper to do that.
Yeah, nowadays it is
there was a
cheaper to
point
build
where
a
there
good
was
rig,
like,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, PC's better, and you're like, oh really? So you think PC's better than just buying a console, plugging it in, and it works?
Consoles are like the boomers of video games because it's like, oh, you don't know how computers work, so here's one in a box for you already.
It's still convenient, and it's done when you get it. You know?
Yeah, I
PC. There's only so many terabytes of things.
I could do other shit on it. I could play current gen games and do literally everything else I do in my entire life, including edit this podcast, on a computer. If I bought a fucking Xbox One or some shit, I would maybe play some Halo on it and then never touch it again for anything else.
well, that's because you're not a gamer.
I'm not.
Do you identify as a gamer? Because I've known people like that.
Have you really known people who say this shit like that?
I don't know. I'll say something.
like
I'll say something, but like, and then I'll hear the phrase "as a gamer," and I'm like,
as a gamer,
woo.
Ooh.
I'm like, and then I'll be like, I'll like talking shit and see how far it goes.
Dude, I spend the majority of my life like just thinking about role-playing games like a fucking nerd. And if someone comes up to me and says something like that, I would still say, go outside, dude. Go fucking outside, man. Jesus.
Well, that's weird to say. I'm a role player.
Yeah.
I'm an RPG-man.
Oh, I guess people do. What is the...
Yeah.
There's a D&D way of saying that, and I can't think of the right phrase for it. But there is people that like, you know, like, yeah, I play D&D, and you're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you special in any way.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is the way?
I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe we don't have a word for it.
Oh, I've got a word for it.
But yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, it's a weird phrase. We don't have a word for it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there's gamer. But then like, there's people that are like, yeah. I guess what I'm saying is like, yeah, D&D is my life, and you're like,
yo,
whoa,
yeah,
whoa.
Yeah, because like,
Back up.
I mean,
Back up, dude.
it is definitely like, I spend a lot of time with role-playing games. I got a lot of other shit I do. At least we all, like, you know, we do other shit, too. But it's when you're, like, you're taking, like, that and you're bandying it about, like, I'm better than you. It's like, dude, I spend a lot of time on this, and I only think I'm better than, like, 70% of the other people who do it.
Yeah.
So...
Well, it's still like it's
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
only
blow right past that.
70% better.
Blow right
yeah,
past that.
I'm talking
Alright,
about
okay.
like the whole idea of
fair
like
conservative value. Right?
I think so.
I'm still talking about like the whole idea of like your entire being is surrounded. Like if someone, it's the whole idea of like if I tell you I'm a gamer, you understand my personality completely. Like that kind of type of person.
Yeah.
So like, oh, I play role playing games. You should know who I am, and you're like, yeah, get the fuck out.
When you look at somebody, they don't even have to say a word. You know that one, they smile with their mouth open for photos, and two, they own a giant Funko Pop collection. You know what I mean?
Wow, wait, what name would that be?
I don't know.
Gamer?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I have a
John
word.
Gamer.
John Gamer. Yeah,
John
Funko
Gamer.
Pop thing. Do you know people that actually do that?
Yes, I fucking do. It is like
I don't know the appeal of it.
I it's literally like people who have just like fallen for consumerism, who is just like they just got
Because figurines are still cool, but like Funko Pops is literally like you're just collecting trash.
It's
Sorry.
It's literally all it is. I love how you the way you had no emotion in your eyes. You're just like, it's just trash.
Well, because like,
fucking
dude,
is.
have you seen like crazy figurine collections?
Yeah.
They're like sculptures. It's mini sculptures, and
Right.
you can be like, that's a lot. But I mean, obviously, we're saying because of that, but we don't treat that like we care about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Minis have utility.
But
War
people that
gaming
have
stuff has
big
utility.
figurines and they collect it, they're still heavy artistic stuff.
Yeah.
Funko Pop
Cool.
is just like, I guess like stacking trash?
Yeah, they get mass printed. It's just like vinyl circles on top of each
do
other.
you like the same model but it's tweaked with some molds that look like the iconic things from your favorite show?
Yeah, it's.
So you know
wow,
people.
more Marvel movie. Ooh, ooh. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like
but
that.
I mean, getting like comic books, collecting comic books is though is still like it's basically just artistic storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still
It's
but
cool seeing an old comic.
comic books fucking rock.
But
dude.
yeah, like Funko Pops.
it's.
I think you're just a hoarder.
Yeah, like if someone was showing you, it's gonna be the
yeah.
same as someone showing you their Beanie Babies, and they're like, "This one's worth $20,000," and you're looking like, "That's trash."
Yeah, it is trash.
And you're like, I doubt
love
it.
to have it because it's worth $20,000, but it's trash otherwise.
Yeah, like I really doubt it. I
I don't believe you. I can't think of anyone who paid that much for it.
So yeah, they have big collections of it.
Oh yeah.
Have you told them they're trash?
A whole lot.
No,
That's the
they're
kind
my
of thing where you
friends.
walk in and you go, "Whoa."
Yeah, you walk out and you go, "Hey, you need help taking the trash?"
Yeah. Damn, you're just stacking it up in here. No, I know people who do. And if you're watching this, I'm only kind of sorry, but it is like one of those things where
because
it's
it's
like
just black. We don't have any
it's
visuals.
like, yeah, it's like
What?
well, no,
Yeah, this
like,
is a podcast.
what, do you think
yeah,
these
there's
people
no
don't
visuals.
know my voice?
Well,
Do you think because they can't see my face, they don't know it's me?
Yes.
These are people I've told I have a podcast. You should listen to the podcast.
Have they?
I don't, probably fucking not.
Oh, there you go.
Based on the number of views, shut up.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "Where's that Funko Pop?"
Where's that fucking pop up?
Oh, this guy's talking about me. Unfriend.
But it's like literally people who it's like they're like, oh yeah, check out my collection. It's one of the things you gotta go. You kind of just gotta. We need to blow past this because I have nothing but unkind things to say, and I like you too much to say those things. Like,
Yeah, in front of their face.
yeah, no, on
now.
my podcast, which is online for all accessibility. You know, it's
Yeah.
and I know some people are gonna say I'm a hypocrite too, or we're hypocrites for being like, oh, figurines and models and shit like that is okay, and Funko Pops aren't. And my only argument is,
Yes.
shut up.
I literally stumbled into a post that you made online.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What?
I stumbled into a post that
No
you made when I was
fucking way.
searching for 2D20 stuff where you posted your generic system with your Google Doc and everything. And there were people's responses, and I loved the last response because it was sad-faced, link no longer works.
No way! Was that on Reddit?
Yeah, and it's
Ah,
because you
fuck.
deleted your Reddit, and it only says
I-
deleted, but I could tell. I'm like, this is Jimmy.
It was me. Do I need to bring that back?
You might, because
So-
there's some sad soul that was interested.
Oh man. Well, because here's the thing: is it's taken me a long time during like up until now. It's literally been a question of like up until a couple of years ago, it was like, oh, I know what's going on, and then stuff happened. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. How the fuck do I brand myself? And I've only just now settled on kind of what I'm gonna go forward with.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of I've made accounts, deleted accounts, made accounts, deleted accounts, and just couldn't fucking decide. And I feel bad about posting the third iteration of this shit on another new Reddit account. But also, I guess I'm asking myself if I care about Redditors and what they think.
I just thought it was hilarious.
So, that is hilarious, but I feel bad because if you're out there, I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna get that shit back up there. I'm gonna go and post all of this shit and then never look at Reddit unless I have to post something.
Yeah.
I thought for a second you were implying
Just treat
that
it
you
as
gotta-
post it. No read or reading involved.
You're right. I should do that because that sucks. That honestly sucks. That somebody saw that and just felt bad about it. And I'm like, fuck, I want to get that back up there. Yeah. I posted my Burning Wheel pre-mades, and somebody did this whole thing about how it's like, that's not how Burning Wheel's played. You can't play with pre-made characters. It makes no sense. And then I just basically strung them along for like posts on posts and posts, just being like, yeah, you're wrong, buddy. And like, I don't care what you. So I that kind of burned me too. Was I was kind of like, I'm not getting too much traction. The traction I was getting. So I'm glad to hear somebody got something out of it.
Yeah.
I'll post the shit back up there.
Well, they didn't.
No, well, they did.
Well, they didn't because it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll post that shit back up there. That'd be fun. I'm just bitter about Reddit, man. I'm bitter. Yeah. It's not great. It's not a fun place.
The app takes way too long to load. I hate it.
The app, oh my
I've
god.
never downloaded it.
The way, well,
Never
now,
wanted to.
if you, good luck using Reddit on like a mobile web browser.
Yeah.
They make you use the app. It sucks.
Oh, I've been getting away with it for years. I still haven't. You can go around it. It's pretty easy.
Can you?
Yeah, you just if it's like, hey, you should be in the app, I go, no. That's it.
Well, but I've had it now where I'll say no, and then it'll only let me go so far down a thread.
Yeah.
And then if you say like, no, I'm not going to use the app, it just sends you to r/all. It doesn't even like let you stay in the
and you
same
should be
spot.
getting off anyways.
Yeah, because that's why I did. I don't
That's
know
why I like
it
the browser
anymore.
because it's like, hey, get the
Yeah.
app, and I'm like, You're right.
No.
I should stop.
That is exactly what they did for me.
That's why it works.
That is
because
exactly
it's telling
why
me to
it
get
works.
off, and I'm like, you're right.
It's like when I see a news story, I'm like, oh man, that sounds horrible. I need to hear more about it. And I scroll through the first paragraph, and I see sign in to the post for reading the full thing. I'm like, no, I guess I don't care that much about atrocity anyway.
I guess I really don't care that much.
Yeah, when Reddit's like,
that's not on me. That's on you, Huffington Post.
Yeah, that's on you. Democracy dies in darkness. It's looking pretty dark out here to me.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, this is 18 plus. You should be on the app. I'm like, you're right.
You're right. I should get off.
I should get off. I should leave. It's actually very helpful.
It is very. I agree. It is very, very helpful.
I've never done the app. I'm like, no.
Are you getting social media yet?
I haven't had it for years.
I know, but didn't people tell you to?
I guess.
You're
gonna do it because people tell you.
Probably. Yeah, you probably should. People are telling me.
I mean, I just know that it's like for streaming and stuff. I mean, if you don't, more power to you. I think it's a good thing if you decide not to.
Well, I think it's more that he says something that direct people to understand his personality, but not get absorbed into it.
Mainly what I'm using mine for now is, and it's the way I need to start using Reddit, and now that I've got my shit figured out, is I'm just posting stuff and then closing it. It's like, this way, it's like, hey, if somebody, 2 reasons. 1, it's a feed of all my shit, and it's getting out there. 2, if somebody wants to message me, I don't want to give them my phone number. I can just give them my Twitter account.
It is funny with that, because there is something, because Ben would hear this. We're a part of a server where the philosophy discussions, and it is funnier because, okay, so you post something and you don't care,
right?
So this is a philosophy discussion server, but there's a guy who shows up, drops something that you should be discussing, and doesn't discuss it. He'll be like, this is the ethics of I think this, I should be able to... I made a boo-boo. And then everyone's like, he's back! And he never discusses anything he says.
Oh my God.
Talk about
great.
a hot fucking take.
He's always, it's this guy who shows up on the server, and he always has some weird, ultra-conservative, maybe, hot take. And then
it sounds like he's just trolling.
You would hope, but it's weird because
I hope people don't think that unironically.
I think he is, but it is obviously like a 14-year-old. But yeah, he's this huge paragraph, and he's just like, he has this whole thing like human rights nowadays doesn't make any sense because it's more counterintuitive for human rights to be a thing. Because and we were like, wow, that's something that should be discussed. And then everyone's like, yep. He's just gonna leave.
that sounds so like he's a piece of shit.
So when you say I'm gonna do a Reddit post and leave, I just think about that guy who's just like, yeah, human rights not a thing.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be posting stuff like that. I'm gonna be posting, hey, I made something. Come look at it if you like it.
Yeah, that's different. This is like hey, this is a philosophy discussion thing. Anyone else know about maybe Plato a bit more? Hey, read this. I want to discuss this. This guy's like, human rights. We don't need it.
The moon landing was real, but the version we saw wasn't.
Leaves. That's literally this guy.
Disappears into bush.
And he'll show up 4 months later. Like recently he posted twice, and we're like, oh no! But every couple months he's just like, yeah, human rights, who needs it? And then never discusses it. In a server that's all about discussion.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's great. So when I think about that Reddit thing, it's just like, hey, Fifth sucks. You guys all suck. Post.
I'll do that. That's fine.
Like, oh.
I love it.
As long as you also mix it in like those horrible boomers treating social media as Google searches, where you just post like Menza Baranzan map pics must be large, lot spiders.
Reddit does it too.
And then the next thing is you posting an article and releasing it. Yeah.
It's like it's going up like a forward search. Like,
how can you make the orc's muscles bigger?
yeah.
Dude, there is a Twitter thing I do see every once in a while, which is Riker's Google search. You should look at that. It's hilarious.
And the thing is, those are the ones you go and read comments on. Because those are the ones that people are either going to be like, the hell? Or they're going to be like, oh, we know what you're talking about, yeah.
Will made this whole, there was a thread on r/RPG about like what system will you never play again, and I told Will about it, and he went on and he made it was one of the longest posts I've ever seen, and he went on and on about like basically a Burning Wheel game being a cult initiation, like just slowly going down and down, and like drawing from our experiences playing it together and stuff, and just going. It was hilarious, like some dark dungeons type shit, just going on and on, and about like more than half of the replies were like, man, it just sounds like you had a bad GM. And it's like, well, fucking yeah, we like sacrificed a goat. Like what? But it's like, how did you think this wasn't a troll post? Like there was so many people.
Good, yeah.
You can't get tone from online.
I don't. In that case, it wasn't like it was so
Overboard.
Ridiculous. It was
But
so
there's people that exist that way.
But
They buy Funko Pops.
They buy Funko Pops. That's why I really don't like a lot of like online discussion, and why I like shy away from it and talk down to it is because it is just like you can get away with saying anything you want.
Yeah,
and
that's
no
why I
one
like
has any
the Zoom.
stakes,
I like
you
the
know?
Zoom call we're in because I could say whatever I want in front of your face, and you couldn't do anything.
The Zoom call we're in?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Zoom call
Yeah.
we're in.
Yeah, this is just really good audio, but like
It's very good
We're
audio.
always in a Zoom call, and I love the
Yeah.
fact that like
I just have my phone next to my headphones.
I can
recording
say
the
whatever
audio,
I want
yeah.
about Burning Wheel, and you can't do anything. You would have to drive here, and you're gonna do that. You're gonna drive here? No.
Yeah.
I could say whatever I want in the Zoom call, and you're not gonna say anything.
No, yeah, fucking say something.
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
No, I'll be over there in a few minutes. You be
okay.
waiting for me.
All right. I gotta go to the grocery
If you know
store.
what's better for you, you're gonna have a bat. You're gonna have something.
I don't need a bat. I just need good legs to run away. Yeah, try to get through my Funko Pop collection.
I got my Funko Pop stacked up against the
Oh
door.
my God, this guy's just a hoarder. They're not even in their boxes.
The SWAT is like coming into your house. They kick down your door, and you've stacked all your Funko Pops go everywhere. They fucking like trip over them. There's like, what the fuck?
It's the
Like,
same one too. It's
It's all
the
the
same
same
Funko Pop
Funko
of
Pop.
Chris Pratt from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Just the most
And you're like,
random
no,
movie.
they'll value. It's fine. It's fine.
Just falls over. Loses all their value immediately. FBI ruins all your Funko Pop collection.
The FBI is looking for drugs. They go into each box. They're cutting open each Funko Pop looking for fucking
I like
crack.
it better that during the raid they accidentally discharge a firearm that hits the Funko Pops, and the guy tries to sue them for it.
Survival
Yeah, congratulations. You've won $10, and the ATF agent you're suing pulls out a crisp $10 bill and slides it across to
I'm
you.
I'm suing for damage to what is it? Enjoyment of life.
Because Funko Pops is literally you're supposed to keep it in the box, right?
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
100%.
I just can't, man.
I think I've seen sometimes
I just
people
can't.
will like
How far? It seems like they're used like carpets in the old days. You kind of just stack them in front of a wall for extra insulation.
Is that how they were used?
What?
I mean, yeah, that's how.
Oh, that is how they were
Yeah,
used.
that's how
Yeah,
carpets are
yeah.
used. So that's the modern day the equivalent. People just stack their walls with Funko Pops.
I don't think I've been to someone's house that had Funko.
I've been.
Like, well,
Anyways,
I
you
feel
wanna
like
I know someone that's starting at it, and he's doing it ironically, but
Still bad.
but
That's
yeah.
still bad. He says he's doing it ironically because he's doing it unironically.
well, he's doing it because he has a niece that is really into them, so he goes out and tries
that's
to buy a
fine.
bunch, and then he gives the cool ones to
if
her.
it's kids who are doing it, that's fine.
And then the
Oh,
ones
no.
the ones that he finds.
No, it's not.
No, it's
No.
not.
Is it not
No,
fine?
you do not have to give everything to your kids.
Yeah.
Hey, kid, here's
It's
12
fine if a kid likes
here's
collecting
200.
junk, is what
No,
I'm saying.
No, it isn't. Dude,
What about a kid who collects rocks?
Rocks aren't junk.
You know
all
what?
right?
Well, no, like
They have
random
no
rocks,
really?
not even good rocks.
how's 40 rocks in a toilet? You try to get that out.
What?
You try to get 40
Are you
rocks out of a
talking from
toilet.
experience?
Dude, my early childhood is having friends with people that were hoarders.
Oh,
Families.
Yeah.
no. 40 rocks.
40 rocks.
And no, that
Dad,
is
the
not an
toilet's
experience
broken.
thing. The 40 rocks is not an experience thing, but I've been in several hoarder homes.
Oh, dude.
A
that
lot of
sucks.
hoarder homes. Especially for work, because I'll go afterwards.
Oh,
And I'll go to people's houses, and yeah, they're at even last week, hoarder home.
Fuck.
So, no,
That's
don't
sad,
teach your
man.
kids about getting that stuff.
Okay, you
Yeah.
you win. You win.
Yeah, you bastards.
Yeah.
You fucking bastard.
Well, I didn't expect you to give it to me that, but my argument's pretty sound.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it very much is.
Shouldn't doubt yourself.
I really do think it's important. I'm learning this now, I guess. I mean, my parents taught me this, but I feel like there really needs to be a more concerted effort to teach kids that things aren't everything. You know, because like it is like the attachment to material possessions, especially when they're fucking worthless, it's pretty out of control. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff, and like I still feel like I have too much shit. Even though I think I have like a pretty modest.
But it's having like literally like, hey, it's 400 Funko Pops, cool.
Oh my god, I can't. I think that if I walked into a house that had 400 Funko Pops, I'd have a panic attack.
I don't know if you'd notice. Can you count that fast?
400 is reaching those numbers that I don't have to count. I can just feel.
It's a wall, isn't
it's it? Like, at that point, it's furniture.
400 would be
furniture.
a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, full room.
And here's my Funko Pop room.
Here's the bed. Funko Pop.
Their bed looks all nice. It's like, oh, this is a nice room. Rips off the sheets, and the bed is just like
we're doing this in the curb game. Yeah, you have to go sleep over at someone's house. They give you the guest room. The guest room is lined to walls with Funko Pops.
I meant it more like you're trying to get lucky.
Oh,
and then she's like, hey, just so you know, I got a Funko Pop collection. You're like, yeah, that sounds fine, whatever. And she's like, no, I got a collection.
No,
and then you walk in.
That totally would be.
Yeah, that's more of a Seinfeld thing. Is like, is this a deal breaker? Is this a deal breaker about the Funko Pop collection?
I feel like I'm never gonna run into a guy who's like that, because that would require going to like a barcade or going to like nerd trivia, and I'm never gonna do either of those things.
You probably meet someone like that.
I've already done barcade stuff, and I've done it enough
you just
to know
said you know someone who has a small Funko Pop collection.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds bigger than.
It's bigger than I'm comfortable with.
Oh,
it's a shelf, like shelf.
I like how
like
big
a bookshelf.
I like bigger and comfortable with is like walking to a therapist room and you're like, there's a lot of. It's like, will you see all the Funko Pops? Yes, I do.
Oh.
How comfortable do you feel? I'm uncomfortable with this. And then she's like,
he's a Funko Pop addiction specialist.
Yeah, exactly.
So walks in the room. It's just there's Funko Pops everywhere, and it's like, how does this make you feel?
Yeah, are you
comfortable?
Like, this is a lot of Funko Pops.
Is that a super rare one? Yeah, it is. It was quite easy to get.
That's a lot of Funko Pops.
Because it was $10.
Yeah, and it'd be somebody like slowly taking them out, like, do you feel more comfortable now? I'm like, yes.
Say goodbye to this. Does this bring joy?
Yeah.
Say goodbye to it.
Yeah,
now,
that literally, does this bring joy? The whole untidy,
Marie Kondo.
Tidying up? Is that what it was?
Tidying with
yeah,
Marie Kondo,
literally, like, that person, she would be like, what the fuck is the point of
what I've decided.
What the fuck is the point of Funko Pops?
So I have some of those black crates with the yellow lids that you get at like Home Depot and shit in my garage. I fucking love those things.
Yeah.
And I have a big one of those, and I am like, this box contains sentimental things. If it does not fit in the box, I cannot keep it. And it's worked pretty well for me. Because I've realized there's a lot of things that I was keeping for sentimental reasons that those feelings weren't actually as powerful.
I throw that stuff away all the time.
Yeah. Just all the time. Here, I made this for you, and with all my heart. Cool.
I don't really care. Like, I'll page them. Like, well, I mean, yeah, if I write something, that's different. But it's like, oh, this was my homework like 10 years ago. I'm like,
oh no, yeah, that's stupid.
You.
Yeah.
Like, there's even some like school stuff I've kept because to do my test. But it's getting too old now because of code changes.
Oh shit!
So just throw it away now.
Yeah, I keep I've kept important textbooks that were from my field that are still good. The one thing I wish I didn't throw out was I took an advanced grammar class, and there was this pretty comprehensive grammar book I had. And that would be useful to pull out because I got motherfuckers at work all the time who are like, excuse me, this is a gerund or whatever, a gerund.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm the one with a piece of paper that says I'm better at English than you, so shut up.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm the one who controls the documentation, so shut up. And third, I do what every other professional writer does and just do what sounds good because we've read and written so much fucking stuff. I think I've got on it before, but the whole idea that passive voice shouldn't be used in documentation is ridiculous. I don't know where this massive hatred of passive voice came from, but it's there's a problem when the way something is written is completely unlike the way people actually use it. People use passive voice all the time. And it's and in order to use, like, if you're like, oh, I need to use active voice in this, instruction, you have to jump through hoops to make it sound right. And at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit. Nobody knows because it's still going to sound right. And it's like, I gotta get on about that forever. But,
yeah, but we only have so much time.
Yeah, this is a longer episode. It's nice.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you good?
Good. Yeah. We have anything to get out of the bag? Any hatred of Funko Pops?
My apologies to Funko Pop owners, to console plebs, to
get help.
Funko Pop hoarders,
get help.
Console plebs.
Even if you
Redditors.
have one, get help.
Get help. Get some help.
Because you know what? Before I end, we have minis, but we use them.
Yeah.
For very specific purposes. They might sit there forever, but we use them. We don't need to. We don't have a game where Funko Pops are needed, where you need the Chris Pratt from Jurassic World.
What if you made a giant fucking outdoors? It's like it's out back and it's a giant table and you use Funko Pops as the minis.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.